Tom, how did Tommy Supplies begin?
So it's pretty cool. So before that, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast. This is I've done a few of these. This is one of my favorite setups, by the way. You killed it here.
Oh,
Great,
thank you.
great job, great job.
Did it all by
So
myself. I'm just winging it.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
so yeah, man, a little bit about my company. It's crazy because I'll give you way back when it first got in it. I've been around it since I was 9 years old, and I met this kid Jesse Nicholson, and then the Mike Nicholson family. I was introduced to his dad, who owned Papillon Tattoo Studio years ago. So Jesse and me were, becoming best friends. So he's like, "Hey, well, my dad wants to meet your dad," and I kind of got my dad into the mix. As soon as they met, they clicked. My Mike's like, "You're a really nice guy. I love you, man. Let's really get some business going." And my dad's like, "Well, what kind of business can we do?" He's like, "Well, come." So he takes me to the tattoo studio, and he wants to get into the supply part now because Papillon was only a tattoo studio, nothing more than at that point, and he was just wanting to get into the supplies. And my dad was a electronics engineer. He was going to school for it and all that stuff. So he made the first most reliable power supply in the tattoo industry back then that became pretty popular all over the world. So when he did that for Mike, they partnered up and they started making needles back when they weren't being done with machines. They were being soldered and all that fun stuff. So there was a process to making needles back then, and five of them like $20, and now you can get like 100 for 10.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. But yeah, it's how he kind of got jumped into it. That's how my dad got started into it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so then after that, I was going to school at Eli Whitney in Enfield, and I would go there after school. Mike Nicholson would sit me down, throw a drawing board there, and have me start tracing. So I traced for like a few months, and then he's like, "Okay, take the trace away. We're now going to have you draw from this design to that paper, freehand." And I started becoming good at that. Never got into tattooing a whole lot. I did a little bit when I was 18, but I enjoyed the art ever since I was young. So my closest thing to be into this business was to mix inks. So when I was part of the business for that, my dad took over, started Tommy Supplies. Him and Mike kind of separated. So my dad started his own company called Tommy's Tattoo Supplies. So when he took over that, he was starting to get into making his own needles even better, more quality, really bringing that to the next level for his own good. That became super popular. So they've been, world known for his needles. My dad was a legend when it comes to that. So, and rest in peace, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, he was an amazing guy. He had the biggest heart you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
So for him to be in this industry and the hookups he got and made throughout his journey in this business was essential. It was killer. So it was around 2000, maybe even a little less. He moved to Arizona to do this business, and then he was asked to move back when Mike Nicholson had passed away, because there's his ex-wife, or his wife, widow now, asked my dad to come out and help grow the business. So in that particular moment, my dad's like, "You know what? It'll give me a chance to be back with my son, which is me, and get his kids out of Arizona, bring them back here." So he had moved down here to help out with Papillon to regrow it, because it was one of the busiest supply shops in the beginning, and it started to, fall down a little bit. So my dad had brought that back up, and when he did that, the partnership didn't work out again. So he had separate on good terms. We both separated. They both separated, and then I kind of fell into the game at that point. But I've been around it the whole time. I've been to tattoo shops in and out since I was 9 years old. So when that happened, he was just starting to get into the inks. So he had asked me if I wanted to kind of join forces with him, and I said, "Yeah, I've been doing electrician for God knows how many years. I've built houses. I've destroyed my body doing the kind of work I've done manually growing up." So when this opportunity struck me, it was exciting because I knew how bosses treated me. I took the good ones and the bad ones and I put it together, and I said, "I want to be this boss.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be the boss that's going to be an arrogant jerk. If I want a day off for a holiday, my guys are getting that day off.
Mm-hmm.
If I want weekends, my guys are getting that weekends off." Because the morale is what I need in this business, and that some of these guys have been with me for since day one, and if not at least 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And it's because I treat them how I want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to how I got into the inks. So at that point, I started mixing inks in the basement with my father. And I became very good at it. It just came to me. I couldn't do the tattooing part, but this part was like a passion of mine. So I started mixing a little bit of inks. I've talked with chemists. I've been around scientists, doctors. So we formulated an ink that nobody could come near back in the day. Our bright white and our canary yellow is still one of the top selling inks in the entire world. And those two colors, we had a chemist sit down and help us out tremendously to make sure it was the best out there, and nobody has matched it yet. So, thank God for that. I appreciate all the people that have been by my side. I appreciate the people I've met throughout my career, which is going on 21 years now. So, yeah, the ink's become super famous then, and it's continuing to grow now. We haven't fell off the wagon at all.
Wow, man. Yeah.
Sorry if I talk too much.
No.
I mean,
Dude,
there's so much more, by the way. There's trips, everything.
Dude, and we will dive into that for sure, 100%. Yeah, well, there's a few things there. I mean, one, I think you did kind of say that you were always like creative. You were always into art growing up, drawing, and so it felt like it must have been very natural for you to just like, it's like it didn't sound like, maybe it's like a family business where maybe like, the prodigal son, so to speak, isn't so like passionate about it. It sounded like you had a passion for art from the beginning. You were hanging around tattoo shops since you were a child. It must have just been very natural for you to jump right in, right?
Yeah, it was natural to jump in it, but to get the mixes, they are trade secrets. So all of our ingredients used in inks, which I can't put out here, are very top trade secrets. They are trademarked. We are registered trademark, which means we've had the mark over 10 years without being contested of it, and that gave us the R around it now. So we've done so much work. We're trademarked in like 8 different countries. We're sold in every country in the world. Yeah, I mean the ink. I now had passed my mixing skills to one of our guys here now, which is Joao. There's only 3 people that knew how to mix ink here. And one of them had actually got another job, but one that I have here now, he's been mixing for me for probably about 18 years.
Wow. Is that rare for in the tattoo industry for maybe for like a brand of colors, like for maybe other brands out there, for there to only be maybe 1 or 2 or 3 mixers that know the entire secrets of the trade?
I want to say, yeah, the less you have knowing your trade secret, the better, because we have them sign, forms and stuff like that. You can't, leak this out. You can't give up our secret ingredients, all that stuff. But you always have that possibility of somebody does it, and then you got to sue them and all that stuff. So,
yeah.
So you try to keep it minimum for someone who can cause problems for your brand,
Sure. What do you think, you observing your father, kind of watching him build a business and run a business and also be in a partnership with a business, I think at a young age, there's probably a lot to grasp there, right? Just of all the knowledge, whether it's in tattoo inks or machines or just, running a business. What do you think were maybe some 1 or 2 or maybe 3 like big takeaway lessons you learned from watching that when it was your turn to take over?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty cool. That's a good question. So when I took over, I took over in my dad's basement. I started there, and then I had rented my first house in Summers on Quality Ave. So then I took that basement, cleaned it all up, sheetrocked it. We built a clean room at the time of what we thought was the best clean room, because there was no rules and regulations on what a clean room should be for our inks. So we built the best, facility we can in my basement with filters and stuff like that. And then I started mixing in there. And then after that, we started, generating a little more money. And then as the more money was coming in, we'd rented my first building in Summers, Connecticut, over on Main Street, which is just 600 square foot. That was it. Had my little computer, and I was only me and my brother at that time working it. So we started mixing in there. We started getting more orders. And at that time, I was selling nothing but tattoo inks, Starbright colors. So then we had cut a hole in the ceiling, and we put it in the basement there now. So now we had built a bigger facility in the basement, to mix our Starbright colors. Again, we built a new clean room there, and we did it as best we can with the small amount of area we had. And then we started getting more supplies in, needles, machines, power supplies. We've also made one of our most famous machines in the world, which is the Tommy's 38 Special. The 4 aces we did as a replica of, we went to a Atlantic City tattoo convention, and my dad decided to try to form a 4 aces machine. So my dad did all that, so I give him a lot of credit for that. It sold out as soon as we got them. It was limited edition. We made no more after that. So there's a lot of little pieces all over the place that come together on how we built this business. So that being said, as more in supplies I was carrying, more customers I was getting, we were starting to travel on the road. I met a lot of them through conventions. I started off with doing 4 conventions a year, because there wasn't many. There was only a few out there. There's now hundreds of them. There's one every weekend.
Yeah.
Now we do 45 shows a year. So it's a lot bigger now because it got more open to the public and to the eyes of regulations and FDAs and all that stuff. So it's now worldwide. It's become a billion-dollar industry at its whole, you know?
Right.
So, but
Yeah.
so as more money was generating, then I now had rented another building, which was 5 doors down. That was 1,200 square foot. So we built a clean room in a whole 1,200 square foot, and we started mixing there now.
Tell me a little bit about what it's like working with your father in the beginning. I mean, I don't really know the dynamic of family businesses. I mean, you know, I helped out my uncle with his barbecue business for a little bit when I was a teenager, but certainly let alone like partnerships. I know nothing about
Yeah.
that. Certainly with family.
So yeah, partnerships. I mean, so partnerships are always hard, and no matter what case, if you guys are butting heads, you have this idea, but he doesn't work with that idea, you know. So that could be a problem itself. The great thing about me and my dad being partners is he let me run with it. He said, I told him, I said, listen, if I'm going to do this, I really want to do it my way because I'm so organized. If you look at anything I do, my office, my house, the way things are, it's so organized. So I just told him, I said, listen, if you let me run with it, I'm going to make things happen. Did I really know? No, I didn't. But I know I have the drive and the push to try and make things happen. And I have built an incredible team out there. When it comes to my staff, they're not just my staff, they're my family, they're my friends. This is a family run business, and I want to keep it this way forever because it is so amazing. You don't have that too much anymore. And that means we can really focus on the quality of our product and not the quantity of people in the business, you know?
Yeah.
So we really enjoy that. But as far as partnering with my dad, it was incredible because we would go places together and he would just let me do all the talking now, and of course he can talk. He could talk his ass off. So he would, we kind of like disperse. He talked to these people, we talk to this, and then we just formed a huge networking group that they loved Tom and Tom, with Tom and Tom show,
Yeah, yeah.
My dad, they would always refer to me as Tommy Jr. and my dad Tommy Sr.,
Yeah.
And then I got all these nicknames now. I got Tommy Gun, Tommy Tattoo, Tom, TJ. So I have
I like Tommy Gun.
Yep, I have it all now.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it was incredible to work with my father. He was an amazing man, and anyone who knows them would see that.
Yeah.
And I was also fortunate because of him is the history of this business. Not a lot of people can say they've met the historical artist that brought this business to where it is today. They're no longer around. Like I've met Hulk Spalding. I was able to go to his shop in his office with my father. I became very good friends with Philadelphia Eddie, who's came to my convention for his birthday. I mean, these are the incredible people I get to meet. Gil Monty, Mario Barth. I mean, there's just so many historical people that I was honored to meet and know them personally, not just on a business level, because of my father.
Wow. Yeah. Would you say then in that, and I just acknowledge, I mean, I wish I knew you long enough to have met your father. I just, from you and from the staff here at Tommy's and all the artists that I run into at conventions just tell me how much of an amazing man he was and how fun he was too.
Oh yeah.
And sounds like clearly a hardworking man too, a good family man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All day. He went through ends meet to raise us kids, so it wasn't easy, and he did it. He did it best he could do.
Man.
And I couldn't be any happier with the results of all of us kids came out because of him. I also want to give big hand of applause and shout out to my grandmother, Carol Landry.
Mm-hmm.
She was actually, while we were making our inks in our company, Papillon was making their inks, and my grandma was known and is still known as the queen of inks. She has mixed inks for 20 plus years, longer than me. She had her own ingredients. Our ingredients did not coincide with each other. I was able to meet a chemist and stuff like that to make a whole new formulated inks for my Starbright colors. So, but she is definitely the queen of inks. She's an amazing woman. If anyone knows her, she's a hard ass. But if she loves you, she loves you. She doesn't like you, she doesn't like you.
Yeah, I did have the pleasure of meeting your grandmother, and she seemed very upfront and direct.
Yep.
Just a very kind
Speaks
woman.
her mind, and she does, she will speak her mind. If she don't like you, she'll let you know she don't like you, and if she loves you, she'll let you know she loves you. And guess what? She loves me.
Well, that's the kind of woman I think everybody needs in their corner for sure. Yeah. Would you say that, kind of a tangent, little sidetrack, but would you say that I'm still, all I know really about the tattoo business is through working with you and for you. Would you say Because it's literally like started like from scratch. What it sounds like from you, your father, your grandmother, other family involved in actually doing the work and mixing the ink. Is it is it also rare that there are still companies out there to this day from the beginning that were mixing inks in the beginning that are still owned and operated by the same people who made
There's
that?
not a whole lot of them, but I mean, there's if you're looking at back in the day, 20 years ago, there's still there's probably a good three, four, maybe five, I don't know, maybe more, but
Mm-hmm.
there is definitely some that are still operated on their own. Like Mario Barth, I know still is.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Fusion is, and I believe Industry Inc. as well. You know, there's a few out there, yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Others are ran by corporations, which we don't believe in that. We don't want to do that.
Yes.
So we love our family-based business. You know, we all get along. We have a lot of friends. We have a lot of network, and we just have a lot of good things that can happen here.
Amazing.
We don't have someone telling us how to run our company and what products to carry and who we can keep working in our business. We decide that on our own.
Amazing. Yeah. Yeah, and then tremendous. I think yeah, there's for sure a lot of integrity and a lot of
Yes.
virtue in that.
I mean, now we're you know we have now over a 8 to 10,000 square foot building between both my buildings with a beautiful showroom as you see here. You know, this took a lot of time and a lot of money to get this thing looking great, but it's nice when somebody comes in here and they just have a great feel like, wow, look at this, you know? They can see all our products, they can enjoy the atmosphere, and it can make them feel like they're coming into something amazing and they're going to get something amazing when they leave here.
Absolutely. Yeah, tremendous. No, it really is amazing here. I mean, I remember when you were putting this
Mm-hmm.
together, and it's pretty cool to see
Yeah.
how this all came to be. Yeah. Well, tell me about like the conventions. I mean, it sounds like that was like kind of a pivotal sort of step in growing the brand and the business and just getting out there in front of artists, and also that being, I guess, another business venture in and of itself, right? Like doing 2-year conventions, New England Tattoo Expo and Tommy's. What talk about that? I guess like how that came to be and how you got into that. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I actually when I first, you know, put it into its first building of 600 square foot and then added the other couple cubicles into there, I was making my own paper catalog. I was taking my own pictures. I was doing my own little write-ups, which the write-ups weren't big then. It was just, hey, check out our needles. They're grouped together like this, blah, blah, blah. You know, little fine pinpoints you hit to making a small description. So I did my own paper catalog, and then what I did was I ended up going to a lot of tattoo shops and conventions and passing them out. I wish I had my first catalog. I think I had my first catalog professionally done, but if I kept that one catalog that was paper, if anyone has it out there, please let me know. I will buy it from you because it was incredible. You know, it was something that's historically no one in my present, and putting that together was not easy because I didn't know what I was doing, but it came out very well for what I had the tools to make those with, you know. So I started going to a bunch of tattoo conventions. Back then, I was doing probably 5 or 6, and you know, the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention was my biggest, so it was nice because there was at that time, I think now it's huge. It's probably over 1,000 artists that go there now, but back then it was over 300 or 400. And I was able to pass out flyers and get my name out there to get that recognition. You know, my dad had brought it here, but my motivation is to bring it nonstop. I wanted to go all the way to the limit, you know?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I did. I went to a lot of these conventions. I met the right people. I've met incredible people. I met, you know, like I said, Gil Monty and all those big guys. I learned from people that were successful. I've learned from those same successful people who almost failed and how they almost failed. So I kind of put failures and success together, but then I brought my own twist into it by making, you know, my machines, my Tommy's 38 specials, my the 4 aces that my dad designed, but I built all them. You know, he designed them, I built them, and I was such a perfectionist. It took me almost a month to build one machine because I was so perfectionist on how that thing was gonna, you know, come down to running and the capability of an artist to be able to have a great machine. I wanted to make sure that that machine was running top notch. And by doing that, you know, you have to make sure every little piece on that machine is completely tight. One little loose part on that machine can throw the whole balance of it off. So you had to do that. You had to file the coils down very nicely so the armature bar would kind of set a little angle, and over a period of time it would start to flatten out a little bit, but it wouldn't, those coils would never wear out. Our machines last almost a lifetime, you know. We haven't had one come back at all. So,
Wow.
and to me that means a lot because I put a lot of time and effort into making sure I can make these machines at its finest.
Wow, man. It's tremendous. A lot to unpack there. Well, I guess in regards to that point, on how you get the product right for all the trial and error, um, how do you think the tattoo industry has changed? Maybe in two parts. One from like I guess when you started, and which I think that there's some obvious pointers. I mean, you were already saying too. I mean, it has become more mainstream. You've got like, of course, Ink Master that kind of blew up, and a lot of artists blew up. Of course, your good friend Steve Teff being one of them, and it really becoming more of a mainstream thing. So maybe like, how has it changed? Maybe since one at that point, and then maybe in even recent years now,
Yeah.
whether it's in the product or the demand of the service, all that, or in the ink regards, things like
Yeah, no, I mean this our industry has changed tremendously over the last 20 years. When I took over 20 years ago, it was still kind of underground, it still wasn't accepted 100%. So we still had to hide a lot of things, even some of the conventions we did, that's why there wasn't so many because it was still hidden for the, fact you don't want to cause a ruckus out there, you don't want people judging you because they were frowned upon certain tattoos and people with tattoos, they're used to saying they're gang members or they're bad people, blah, blah, blah. But really, it's just an art to express yourself on your body. So when I first started, there was no rules with the inks. There was no rules really in the industry. You didn't need, really any health stuff. You just go, you'd go file with the health department, but there was no what you need. You didn't need no inspections. You didn't need no paperwork. Like, oh, here you go. Give me some money. You're tattooing out of your shop now. That was it. Yeah. So since then, I'd say probably after that, 5 to 10 years, into the business, you had the Ink Master that came out because back then celebrities were not TV stars. The celebrity tattoo artists were like Carl Grace, Gil Monty, all those historical people. They made themselves celebrities by the way they put their art out there, the people they've met, the celebrities they tattooed over the years. So they personally made themselves famous. So after a few years went by, I would say in about 2012, maybe somewhere around there, the Ink Master came out. But before that, there was Miami Ink, LA Ink. So those all started, and then of course Ink Master became the best TV show in the world. Before that, it was LA Ink, Miami Ink. Those were all big. You had Omni James, you have Amy Nicoletto, who's a very good friend of mine, Kat Von D. I mean, all these big people. So they really put a huge impact on the tattoo industry with these TV shows because now people are looking at it as not bad people getting tattoos. They're looking at, hey, this is now an art that you got on your body to express who you are. So they kind of saw that and accepted it. So that was amazing itself. So that was a turning point of the industry really going from here to exploding all over the planet, dramatically exploding. So then another few years go by, and I'd say the next biggest change in this industry was the FDA stepping in and all the health regulations and all the world of health regulations that you have to go through. And you have to license your product. Like Brazil, they want all your tattoo equipment. They want it as a medical device. So you have to get a certificate for that. And that's crazy because we're not doctors. We're not injecting into the skin. This is on the surface and we're tattooing art on them, So they really overlook some of the things of what we're doing, and it caused some issues. But I believe in regulations. We all need it, Absolutely. You're getting ink into your body. Anything can happen. So regulations are huge to have. The problem is the right kind of regulations. Some of these guys are just making, all these regulations based off of what they don't know, considered to what they do know, because they haven't been doing research on the tattoo industry. They just started to. So now they're starting to fine tune things, and now the regulations are coming into play a little bit easier, but still it's a pain in the ass.
Give me some examples. Like what would be some like absurd like regulations that like maybe just aren't relevant? I mean, you said the medical part.
So it's I can't get too much into it, but I will tell you it's some of the things they want out of the inks, which is somewhat not near impossible, but by the time you get to what they want out of the inks, you're not going to have any ink in your skin. It's going to be a very faded tattoo. Like you put your arm in the sun for 10 years.
Yeah.
So, and it's never caused any harm to any people. It's never killed anybody. You have some reactions, but that can be from eating food, or you could be allergic to peanut oil or anything crazy, So, it's a thing that you look at you overlook some of the reactions that can happen, but they do happen, These kind of things happen no matter what you're doing in life. You can, shave your arms and you can get a a reaction that can cause big problems, you know? So I think the fact that they want to take all these things out when it's never done any harm for anybody, but yet you can go smoke a cigarette and it's okay, you know?
Right.
We stamped all the stuff they want. You know, yes, you can get a reaction to this. You can get this. This could be harmful. Yeah, we could say all that because at the end of the day, we know our products are very safe and we do all the right steps for it to making it as safe as we can get it for all the people out there that get tattooed with our inks.
How long would you say it takes to get, let's say hypothetical, like one bottle of ink? Like, I don't want to make you like talk too much into the process because I don't want you to have to feel like you have to give up your secrets, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just curious because I love like watching like how things work and systems and how just all aspects of manufacturing. Like what, like say any bottle, like say these bottles of ink right here, like getting from 0 to 100, like how long does that process take?
To get all the inks mixed?
Yeah, like to get it from starting from scratch to getting it like in the bottle and distributed.
Oh, so I mean, some are different than others. Some, I mean, we have 16 base colors we use, and we mix 180 colors out of those 16. Some of the colors can be as easy as adding a couple preservatives into them, and they're ready to go. And then others, like our flesh tones and stuff like that, you have to mix about 4 to 8 different colors to get that kind of flesh tone. And those are very intense trade secret colors because when you have something of that vicinity of color, you can't just put the measurements in and call it a day. You have to be professional. You have to be precise when you're mixing that color because you have to do the measurements, but on top of that, you have to eye it. So we always leave a batch before it so we can match it identical because if you have 2 to 4 shades off, you're going to notice it in the skin. So you have to know the measurements, but you also have the skill to know how it's to be made at the final product.
Wow, tremendous. Yeah. No, it's fascinating stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a big industry. Like I said, I've done so many tattoo conventions. Over the years, I was doing them just me and my brother for almost 10 to 12 years. I finally started giving it up about 8 years ago. And I got a nice truck. I got a trailer. We put a little living room in the back so we can sleep there on our way there. So we take turns driving with a bedroom in the back. It was awesome.
Nice.
We went from here to California, hitting all the conventions up. We did a tour for a month and a half, just going from each weekend. We'd pinpoint the convention that's going, and we were lucky that they were happening back to back to back. So we went from here to Kansas to Las Vegas for Mario's show, Vegas to Rock the Ink in California, and then California to New Mexico, and then back home.
Wow.
And when I tell you, the first convention, Kansas, it was a bomb. We lost so much money there. We didn't know it was going to be that bad. We literally made maybe $400. That's the worst show I've ever done in my life. But after that, I'm like, we need to make more money. That's when I sat my brothers. We were at Red Lobster, and I told my brothers, you know what? Do you guys want to take a tour? We need to make some more money, and I don't want to go back home with $300. So he's like, yeah. So I mapped it out, and then we went to Vegas. When we get to Vegas, they have this. We have to unload our stuff. The union has to do it. They want to unload all my stuff for me. We can't touch it, and they want to charge me $10,000. I was freaking out, man. I'm like, are you kidding me? We are going to lose our freaking shirts. And back then, I didn't have that much. We were just getting into the game pretty good. So I was able to get them down to 5,000. So we did the convention. We didn't make what we expected to make, but we made about 4,000 or 5,000. Not much. We just almost covered our expenses. So then we went to California. I made a few thousand there. All right, cool. I'm up a little bit. And then we went to New Mexico, and I'm like, man, I hope we fucking hit big here. And we get to New Mexico, and when I tell you, we crushed it there.
Wow.
We paid all of our expenses, plus had a lot of profit left over, and we drove back home happy to our wives and family.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, cool story, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is funny how like it's at least for you, it transitioned into really almost like a rock band. You're kind of like you're living on the road, and in a way, like at least for you, like trying to push the conventions and get people interested. In a way, you're kind of like you're operating no longer, at least not just as Tom Ringwalt, the owner of Tommy Supplies. You're Tom, the promoter. You're trying to get people interested in the convention.
I do a lot of all my social media. I do all my own social media. I do all my own write-ups. I do all my own hashtags. Like I do it all. I love the social media. I love marketing myself because there's nobody better that can market your business or your products than you if you can figure it out. That to me has made it so much easier for me to get my products into the right hands and get it knowledgeable about what people can see, how my products perform when they're using them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me how you figured that out. Like how did you personally like figure out how to like market yourself in the
So it's
way
crazy. It started since day one. I mean, I was in my truck on my way that trip I was telling you about. I was actually with my boy Pooch. We were on no, this was another time. Sorry. I was on my way to California with Pooch or Mexico or somewhere like, oh, we're going to Deadwood. Me and Pooch were going to Deadwood and I had a couple drivers and I'm in the back seat and MySpace. I was just learning MySpace because that's the way to promote your business back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was more of a kid thing, but it was getting your business out there. Literally that week, Facebook came out. That week, I was in the truck, and I'm like, I want to learn this. So I started getting on. I set up an account, and that day forward, I just never stopped doing it. I learned what the algorithms had to play in when the posts were going out. You have to do the research on the graph. So now they have all these analytics that you can look at. Back then, they didn't. So you just had to say, okay, this many people liked it at this time, but they didn't at this time. So then I would figure out the times to post based off of how many people were interacting with my post. Now, I don't have to. I just go to the analytics. I'm like, okay, this is the time all my people are on. This time all these people. So I now can post at the times when everyone's going to engage with my post. So I kind of just figured it all out. And then, Facebook came out with paid ads. And then you start learning how to go into the paid ads. And they just have the whole thing. You just fill everything out. I guess the biggest things for those is amazing graphics, which you need. Of course, an amazing product when it gets in their hands if you're going to promote it. And then you have to have good write-ups for all this stuff. And we have that. We have write-ups. We have all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I mean, marketing myself, traveling. I've done so many radio interviews. I've done TV shows. I did a TV show out in California called Countdown LA. And I was talking about my business at a tattoo shop. And we were able to film on the beach, all the colors, talk about it. So I promoted myself and I got myself out there so much because I love what I do. Wow. I love the people. I mean, I think this is the best industry anybody could ever be in because we're not one stereotype of people. We are multi stereotypes of people. So there's no judgment in this business ever.
Yeah, it is really amazing to see the diversity in all kinds of people, whether it's from the backgrounds or just their practices or down to their values. It's really amazing. There's never a dull moment just going to these conventions, going to these different shops and different booths and meeting all these amazing artists. It's really fascinating. It's really cool.
No, absolutely. And I want to back it up a little bit too. When I first started the company, right? I'll never forget this. I never liked flying. I've flown thousands of times now, but I hated flying. I did not get in a plane. And my dad wanted me to go to Brazil with him and for a business trip to meet some artists out there. And I'm like, I can try it, I was just helping my dad with his business at that point. And I had another job. So we fly out there. We have these meetings. I got scared. I got homesick. I've never flown out of the country. I got homesick. And this is before I was traveling to conventions too. This is before I really owned any of the business. So we fly out there. We have all these meetings. I got homesick. I went back to my hotel room because I got nervous. I'm in another country. I'm not, feeling it. And then I remember, I'll never forget. I went out the last day. I had the best time ever. I'm like, these people are amazing. And we had a great time. And then that same day we had to fly back. I got fired from my job. Somebody, my grandma had to tell me I'm fired, which was the most devastating thing ever because I had insurance. I was doing great. I loved what I did. I won't mention the name that happened with, but I will say I did nothing wrong and I got fired for no reason, So, and I could get into it more. There's a little bit more to that has nothing to do with me, with somebody else, why I got fired. Okay. And I can't mention that name, but it really sucks. So that day right there, I'm like, you know what, Dad? I am ready to go full force with this company. Full force. Yeah. So we got on a plane and I'm writing everything down. Everything. I'm writing, this is what I'm going to do for advertising. These are the inks I want to start making. I want to make all these new colors. I want the artist to have something they never had before. Like my mind just started running. I got to get my my permits. I got to get registered with the state. Like all this stuff I was writing down. I had everything planned out. And then the plane starts shaking. And when I say shaking, things were opening up, falling out. And I'm like, God damn! I thought I was gonna be able to take this business and bring it to the next level. And Dad, I think we're going down. And and it did that for a few minutes, and then it straightened out, and my heart stopped, and it was the scariest thing ever. But it was I think God was just saying, hey, wake the hell up. Yeah. That company going. I hope you're gonna do it now because this could be your last day on Earth. You never know.
Wow, that's an amazing story, man. Yeah. That is amazing. It is funny how there are those I guess how would you call it, disastrous like fiasco moments that are really like it takes it to get to that level
Yeah.
combined with a preliminary. It's like you get fired or something else
Yeah, because
happens.
you don't know. I always say you never know what life's gonna throw at you. They could throw so many curveballs at you, but it's not when they kick you down. It's how you get back up and move forward. And don't ever let anyone tell you what you can and cannot do. Anybody can do anything they want to do. And if you don't meet that goal that you want to do, there's another goal out there. You have there. I always say there's somebody that has a special talent that can make it if they get their talent known in the beginning. And it's never too late. Never too late. Somebody has something out there they can offer to a business or to another person or to something. Somebody has that talent and skill to get that going of what they need to do
Wow,
in life.
man, love that.
So
I'm curious to know what motivates you. Like, just, I mean, from that story you described, and just from the consistency in that you always seem very motivated, you're on top of energy, regardless of maybe how you feel or what's going on. Like, I'd like to know where that motivation comes from.
so I gotta say this motivation of how I have such high motivation for this business is because it does not feel like work. I come into work as I'm going to hang out with my family at a nice gathering at my house or my friends, or I buy lunch every Friday since day one. I've never stopped. So when I come into work, I'm not coming into work. I'm coming into my family, and I'm having an amazing time, and it doesn't feel like it's a job at all. So I have a lot of moving parts. I do, my own accountant work, my own, QuickBooks, my reconciling. They do. I have a manager out there who overlooks everybody. I have, my sister and my brother-in-law doing the inks and mixing and filling. We all have our part in this business, but we can also change parts because everybody knows every job we have here. So it's just so much fun. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
So the motivation I have is to make sure that these guys keep their houses, their jobs, make good money in their pocket. And that to me motivates me more than anything, knowing that I'm taking care of all my family and they're taking care of me in return.
I love that. Absolutely love that. It's funny, I mean, because I'm working to be a boss. I'm working to be a better leader. Someday I will have a team. I'm not looking for a crazy big team, but I'd like to have a small production company of a few people working under me. But when I've hung around with various leaders, CEOs, and business owners, it seems like the main thing, because we think of like a boss as like telling people what to do, but really at the end of the day, it's just the opposite. It's serving people.
Yeah.
Serving
So I
others.
never think, and I was say this, I never think of me ever being a boss. So a boss is someone who bosses you around. I'm a leader.
Yeah.
A leader that people like to follow, and I in return would follow them because there's people that have to offer whether they know something or they don't know something. You can always learn from both sides. Something they didn't succeed in or something they did succeed in. So you have to learn from it all. Like for instance, my conventions. Okay. I put my first tattoo convention on in 2012, and I've already done conventions for 12 years before that. And I wanted to put one on here before anybody else did. I'm like, you know what? I have one of the, companies here that is very recognizable. I have a lot of loyalty, a lot of support, a lot of networking skills. I should be the one to put the first tattoo convention on here. So that's when I went to Hartford and I struck all the deals there. And then I end up writing do's and don'ts of putting on a tattoo convention. So I started going to more tattoo conventions, finding out what's working for them, what's not working for them, what I think could work better than both of them put together. So that's why my tattoo convention has been one of the most recognizable tattoo conventions in the world, because when people come to it, again, I gave them that atmosphere. They come to here feeling like they're part of my family, not working. So at the end of the night, I'm going to hang out with all of them. I'm going out to the after parties with them because I want them to know that I'm there with them. I'm not just hiding behind my businesses. I don't do that. I'm in with you guys, and I'm working just as hard as you guys. And I consider this whole industry a pool of my family.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, you're right on the front lines with them. Yeah, that's beautiful. What do you think are your biggest strengths and your biggest weaknesses?
So I think the biggest strength I have is being very sociable, very knowledgeable, very organized. I took my business, and I don't want anyone to have piece of my business. Like, I don't want my accountant taking care of all my bookwork. I don't want this person knowing what I have in my accounts. I don't want to know what, they know all about my QuickBooks and my reports and all that stuff. I want to be able to do that because I was able to manage my entire asset, profit and loss of the company by knowing all that. And by knowing all that, I know we start to slow down, I know where I can pull things from, so I can now keep the profit up here. For instance, we had a couple very slow months. The accounts just started dropping. But I know that, hey, I can't spend this. We can't buy this. Maybe we're not buying $20,000 in product. Now we're buying 10, and we're just kind of riding that wave out because our company, has a lot of loyalty to us. We have a lot of customers. So when things like that go down, it's not necessarily our company. It's just the industry itself was going, just slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
It could be the times of the year and all that stuff. So I'm very strong in knowing how to manage my money in this company. So when we start to fall, I'll always go up because there's things to cut back, so that doesn't happen. And whether it's bringing a new product out, or you're putting your inks on a biggest sale ever, or you're doing your whole store at a sale, or you're trying to do different things to gravitate that business so you don't sink. There's always ways of figuring out how to get out of a situation if you know your business inside and out. And I know mine inside and out.
Love that. Love that. So strengths, so sociable, building solid systems and preparation.
Treating your staff like they're your family. You treat them good, they're going to treat you good because they're the ones that are pushing the products out to customers, and the customers want to feel when they call here, they're talking to their family as well. And that's exactly what it is. We very rarely get anybody upset. We're not perfect. You messed up orders. Okay.
Yeah.
We will fix that, and we'll have customers like try and rip us apart, like yelling. And we're like, listen, sir, we're trying to take care of you. Or ma'am, we're going to give you this back. Plus we're going to give you a free sample of some things because we apologize for that. We let them know we're not perfect, and we're going to take care of you in every way possible. There's no need to get upset with us. We're not getting upset with you. We know you need it. We'll overnight it, whatever it takes to make you happy.
Nice.
And we've never had anyone continue to get mad at us.
Wow.
So
love that. Now strengths, now like weakness, and I don't necessarily mean like, give away like your vulnerabilities. I just mean like, cause your weaknesses and how you overcome them and like in running the operation smoothly.
So I say if I have a weakness, which I do, and I think that would be, and it's not a bad weakness, but it's a weakness that I could at one point be too kind and too nice to the point where it was being taken advantage of. People were, you give a little, they want to take a lot, so I think my biggest thing would be, being weak back in the day and giving more than receiving.
Yeah, I have a similar problem too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you and I are both we're gentlemen. We're nice guys.
Mm-hmm.
We like to. I mean, you said it. I mean, I think we like to take care of people, but yeah, there's definitely a point where that draws a line, especially when you're running an operation. You have to pay people and keep them healthy and live. So, yeah.
So, yeah, that would be my weakness that I really know that could have hurt me back in the day, and I managed to put my foot down a little more than normal, but still nice guy ever.
Yeah, yeah. So love that. Yeah. Yeah. Where do you see the future of the tattoo business going?
So the future, it's definitely evolving and changing rapidly. I feel like investment companies are buying a lot of companies out now, so I feel that that's getting a little more intense lately. I'm not shocked. We keep hearing, oh, this one bought out, this was bought out, that's bought out. Stuff like that. I was offered to be bought out at one point. I did turn it down. I wasn't happy with it, and I love my business. Again, it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
So I say between that and the FDA really stepping in, there's going to be more harder regulations coming to us. The only good thing is we're pretty much up to par with a lot of the stuff they asked for. We have a class 100,000 clean room, HEPA filters, UV lighting, sterilization processes, ink room testing. So we are way above the game as far as what they're expecting from us now. So I think we'll be okay. But all the little guys that are, which they should have what we have. It's not fair if they're still mixing in their basement. I always say this. I mean, there's so many ink companies out there now, which is very unfair to the people like us who have put time, money, effort, meeting all the requirements worldwide, and doing it and spending a lot of money to make our inks some of the safest in the world, when you have other ink companies just coming up and they're doing it in their house or their basement, and then they're selling. And of course, if you have 150 of them, they are reaping into all of our customers to keep getting more, to keep rejuvenating the brand and making it bigger and better,
Right.
So I say it's evolving that way, with regulations coming harder and more stricter.
So it sounds like it's going to get harder for the little guy, like trying to build up.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get harder for them, but also it could get harder for us as well. They could say they want something that we've never heard of, and it could cost $100,000. You know, you just don't know what they want right now. I think we're good. I don't have any issues of what we're meeting on their demands right now. But yeah, no, it becomes a big problem. And what happens too when you have these ink manufacturers trying to be ink manufacturers popping up is they don't know how to mix ink. They just do it per se and what they see reading off Google. So that could cause a lot of problems because when they sell that ink to somebody and that people tattoos with it and they get a big reaction, this is where a big reaction can come because it's not safe. And then that causes not just problems for them, it has nothing for them. They can just close it down, shut the doors because they're a smaller company, but it reflects us. Oh, tattoo inks are bad.
Right.
That's where it comes out. No, tattoo inks are not bad. It's that one person who decided to get into this business and make his own ink and not know what he's doing.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right. Ruins it for everybody. Yeah. How about the future of Tommy's Enterprises, the Tommy Supplies, Starbright Colors, and the conventions?
I love it, man. I think I'm going to keep striving to make things great. I'm going to make more colors. We're going to do different design. We have a new project coming out. I don't want to talk about it right now, but
Yeah.
we have some new things happening with Starbright Colors. We have the tattoo conventions. Every year I'm always trying to put new things and new assets into the convention to make it different and the most best reliable tattoo convention in the entire world. I don't want to be like everybody else, and they're all doing an amazing job. I actually love going to all these conventions because they are so incredibly talented at what they put on. I want to be different. I want people to come to my convention and say, you know what, Tommy's a little different than this. So they want to come to my show. You're not trying to pick and choose now. They can come to a show that they really love and like, you know, just like the Philadelphia Tattoo Expo. Everybody has to go to that. It is the biggest convention in the world. I look forward to going to that every year. So I think I want to grow my tattoo conventions more. I now have commercial property. You know, I have house I rent. You know, I have different things that I've jumped into. I have a pool hall that I'm just selling now to a very good friend of mine. So, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I love trying different things. I get bored. So when I feel like something's there and I've mastered it, I want to try something else. I want to put a new project on. That's why we're always growing here because we're always mastering new projects to keep on bringing people into this. Because once you don't do anything to rejuvenate your business regularly, it feels like you're here. And then it feels like, you know, your customers, you really don't care about your business. No, I want them to see new things all the time, whether it's a post of new product or maybe it's, hey, thank you guys all for your support. We're still here. We're not going anywhere. Check out our new website. I have new designs. Like I'm always moving parts around to make it seem like my company's always rejuvenating and being the best that it can be for our customers.
Oh, amazing. Tremendous. Any advice you would give to your younger self?
To my younger self. So I will say I almost lost this business one time. My advice is, again, don't be too weak, you know, because too weak could be a problem, but don't always be an asshole either, you know, it's plain and simple. So I'd purchased this machine order. It was a big machine order. I forgot what brand it was. It was back in 2003. I barely had any money in the account. I placed a $20,000 order for these machines because they were becoming very popular back then. So I got them in, let them, you know, I put them on the website, all that. I get a guy who placed a $40,000 order. I'm like, wow, this is incredible. We need your license. We need this. We need that. I got it all. We shipped the machines out. 6 months later, I barely have $40,000 in my account. They take all my money out of my account. And I'm like, what the hell happened? What is going on? So I called them and said, well, the guy that did that, he stole somebody's credit card, her license. I didn't know about putting, you know, like security measures on my website or fraud protection on my credit card process. I didn't know about any of that. None of us did. We really didn't even use credit cards back then. We just started getting into it.
Right.
There was a lot of cash based back then. So when we did that, I had to start all over again. And not to mention too, when I took over the business from my father, he had a $100,000 deficit too that I had to get him out, and that was part of the reason why I wanted to partner with him. And I said, Dad, because you took care of us as kids, and I'll never forget the memories I had with you. As soon as I get this company going, you were retired. The minute I did, I let him retire, and I took care of him all the way to the day he passed because he deserved that.
Wow, amazing.
So,
wow.
but yeah, it's my lesson. You know, don't be too weak, because if you're too weak in your business, you can lose it all in one day. One bad decision can cost your entire business. So make sure you kind of know your bookwork inside and out. You know where your money's going inside and out. You know your staff very well. If not, you get to know them very well. So you make sure that you guys all work together as a team, because teams make things happen, not individuals.
Oh, amazing. Love that. What any other insights you would give to whether it's artists or young aspiring entrepreneurs and builders like you? What advice would you give?
I'd say that, if there's any advice I can give any of these people is to keep having that drive. And every time you have that drive, it motivates you to be to the next level. So if you're a tattoo artist and you're doing a basic flash, guess what? Turn that around. Learn how to do a portrait. Learn how to do custom stuff, Keep up in your game to make yourself the best you can be. And always try to do something different than everybody else's, because if you do what everybody else does, you're just only going to plateau at the same level. So always try to strive to find something different out that's going to separate you from the rest.
Amazing. Amazing. I think we could leave it on a high at that note. Do you have any other thoughts, any other things you want to throw in?
No, again, thank you for having me on this podcast. I enjoyed it, and I hope you liked it too.
Dude, I had one hell of a time, man. And like you said too, we'll definitely get you back on. We'll do this again when we come here, and awesome. We have this amazing set here in the showroom too. So
maybe we get some other people on too. I got some celebrities that'll come on next time.
Dude, let's do it, man. Sounds like a lot of fun. We'll do your podcast, we'll do mine again, and just keep growing at it. It's awesome. Cool. Thanks, brother.
Oh yeah, and I am going to be putting my own podcast out that I'm hoping you're going to help me with. I really appreciate that. Of
course.
So I'd definitely like to talk to you about that. And
yes,
you guys keep watching, and hopefully you'll see it one day.
Awesome. Tom Ringwald, thank you so much for coming on, man. This has been a real pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
All right,
appreciate it.
Too.
Awesome.